We're going to go ahead and get started. Welcome everybody to Wisconsin Veterans Museum's latest installment of Drink and Draw. Tonight we're going to be doing cartoons and comic relief part 2. So we're going to be kind of carrying on from where we were last month. My name's Eric Wright. I'm the education specialist for the museum. And before we get started, I just want to say real quick, thank you very much to the Wisconsin Veterans Museum Foundation for continuing to support these free programs we get to put on every month. Not only Drink and Draw, but also our movie nights, our trivia nights, and all of our curator conversations that we have the lunchtime hour on Mondays. So if any of those programs sound of interest to you, please feel free to go to our website and look for our programming schedule. And just remember that all these are brought to you by the Wisconsin Veterans Museum Foundation. So thank you to them and to Jennifer Carlson for their continued support. I would like to welcome back again Hannah Sandvold, our guest artist. She's going to be joined tonight by Yvette Pino, who is our in-house artist, and they are both going to take us through this drink and draw this evening. Ladies, I guess without any further ado, I will turn it over to you.
Great, thanks, Eric. This is Yvette here, everybody, and I realized that I'm putting Hannah up on the screen because she's our featured artist, but last month, I forgot to introduce myself and remind you guys I am the traveling art exhibit coordinator at the Wisconsin Veterans Museum. So art is my passion. I'm a veteran artist, and I started this program so we have an opportunity to not only draw, but to look at photos and objects in the collection that don't always get seen because we can't exhibit everything in our collection. So Hannah's a wonderful and talented guest artist, and because you guys are here to draw, I'm going to shut my mouth and let Hannah get started. I will chime in every once in a while to add some stories to what you're drawing, but feel free to ask questions in the chat. We'll be keeping our eye on that. But Hannah, over to you.
Thank you, Yvette. Welcome again, everyone. Glad to be back. I will go ahead and get my face off of here because we are here to draw, and I kind of want to just dive right into it tonight. The first time I did a drink and draw last summer, the weather was pretty similar to this, drizzly all day. So feels just like it did when I started. So, all right. So this week is a continuation of last time, or this month rather. And the selection that I've chosen, we have a more animal themed set of photographs this week. And then the cartoon image I'll be looking at first, just to sort of start things off with some simple line drawing in a sort of note-taking fashion, is this one here. So I'm going to have it up on screen for a little bit just to sort of point out stylistic choices that this artist made. You know, this is a graphite drawing. A lot of narrative sense because, you know, the purpose of all of these pictures is to illustrate for someone else what this experience is like. So we're really looking at, you know, the details this person thought was most important. We have some great line work, not a ton of shading, but some. You know, show volume and depth. So we're going to zoom back out and start applying some of these choices to this image. And I was informed that you all would like to hear more about how I go about starting and making these choices as I draw. So as we begin here, I think I'm going to start with this figure here. We'll add the deer in later, but I want to try and sort of simplify him, break down, start with the shapes. But make sure we get that pose right. And ultimately, we're trying to tell the story of whatever is going on with, looks like training a deer. And as I get started here, I know that you don't necessarily have a story for every single one of these, but if you'd like to talk a little bit about the collection,
Yeah, so we
you can go
chose
ahead.
images. The reason why there's animals in today's collection is that we have a traveling exhibit called Mascots, Military Mascots, and it's about the animals or mascots that the service members um, collect is probably not the right word, but become acquainted with over their time in service. As we look at a lot of the older images, we see much more wildlife like the deer or rabbits or uh, it just depends on the place of where they're serving at. So in some of the collection, we have monkeys, camels. You'll see later on a snake. And I have some fun facts to throw in later on, but just keep in mind, these are from our mascots traveling exhibit. So these are some of the photos that actually didn't make the cut for the exhibit. So we're getting to see them now.
Yeah, there are some good ones indeed. And to jump back in here with how I'm approaching this, I am trying to map out the figure. And I know that I have a tendency to keep things relatively realistically proportioned, which is not necessarily the goal of, a cartooning themed event. So as I'm, keeping him proportional here, I do know that I need to come back in and, exaggerate some things so that it is a bit more influenced by this style. So
And Hannah, you're so, you've gotten so good at starting. One of the things I love about watching you draw is that you always start out with one or two lines and your proportions do tend to stay really uniform, and you do a really good job of staying on your canvas. Whereas that's my problem. I don't prepare and I end up drawing off the canvas. What sort of like proportion techniques that, things that have become second nature do you use in some ways? I don't mean to put you on the spot, but I do mean to put you on the spot.
No, that's a great question. And admittedly, I don't always get the results I want, but I have gotten pretty good at predicting how large my drawing needs to be based on where I start. So, some of that is just lots of practice and trial by error. But, I have a huge canvas here, but I've, unofficially given myself about this much space.
Right.
And, like a lot of, people that just sketch a lot, I'm used to sort of the standard either computer paper size, or I think my sketchbooks are 5x8.
Right.
So, portrait mode, sort of, roughly this type of proportion. So I tend to work small enough so that my entire figure will fit comfortably within that space. So that even if I am a little off, it's just a matter of the feet being closer to the bottom as opposed to going off. But I will say, if you end up starting in the wrong place, and the feet do have to go off, that is better than trying to squish them in.
Right.
Yeah.
Unless
and
you want to exaggerate it and do it that way, like in cartoons, right? Like
exactly.
At this point, like all of a sudden the feet would become really big and I would just go with it, right? And
exactly.
I mean, I think the other, go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say too, that's another reason why starting with the head kind of makes the most sense, because if you are going to sacrifice part of the figure, you probably would rather it be the feet than someone's face.
Depending on, yes, the unless you wanted to do one of those weird perspective angles.
Yeah,
like
exactly. If you're drawing a bunch of ancient sculptures who have all lost their heads anyways, then you're fine.
The other thing
But
I noticed is you're capturing gesture just in like the simple lines. And when I say gesture, like his stance,
mhm.
like he has a very specific, he's placing his weight very specifically. And you were able to capture that with one or two lines. So I think that's something to look at of here you like, and animals too. I should shut up because animals are so difficult.
Yeah, and that's definitely my priority. I'm not focusing on details or even worrying about the stylization yet. I do want to make sure that, if anything, we capture that gesture and expression, because that does kind of communicate the most of anything in the image. So
Mhm.
you just really want to map that out. And if you're drawing digitally, either make these lines lighter, or you can certainly control alt delete as you go. If you're sketching with pencil, these would be the lightest lines that you'll then come back in and darken. But basically we're giving ourselves plenty of guidelines to work off of. I guess I should sort of keep an eye on the time too.
You're at
Didn't
7:12.
really
Yeah.
give a
How much did you
prediction.
want to dedicate to each one? And I can keep an eye out too.
Yeah. I think this first one, we have two figures that we want to give some good time to. Let's go with another 8 minutes for this one.
Perfect.
And
I'll
I
let you
think,
know.
yeah, the next couple we'll try to do a little faster. But okay, so I think we pretty much have what we need from the photo at this point. If you're really ambitious, you can sketch in this guy looking on. But I'm going to go ahead and leave him out for the sake of time. And now I'm going to sort of focus in on this source material. And I'm going to bump up the opacity a little bit for my drawing tool. And now
And
we're
excuse
really
my interruption, Hannah. If you guys need the photo, my background is the photo. So if you need a little reference, you can go to my picture in the gallery and see the photo. Or of course, if you have a multi-screen, and you can go to the website too.
So this artist, very simple in facial expressions. Just a simple dot for an eye. And simple lines for other features. I think reference our source image here. He's not really emoting a whole lot. So we'll keep his expression simple.
If you were sending a drawing home or doing this in your sketchbook, like they've circled, like in the reference drawing, they have specific things highlighted. What do you think? What story do you think this one's telling in the, what it's like a caption, this cartoon?
That is a great question. I'll have to give some thought to mine. I think we can add that at the end.
Yeah, it's like reindeer drops. I wonder what branch of service Santa Claus is. Would it be Air Force? He's definitely not a Marine. He's too husky to be a Marine. But he does like red. Santa might have to be a Marine. That's tough for this Army girl to say. Although Marine pilots are kind of tough. think that's what we need, Hannah. We need like a Marine slogan, like the few the proud for this like reindeer situation.
You're the proud. Or would we want to make a comical reference to that?
Yeah, it's
Spin it a little bit.
I'll think about it. And maybe I'll come up with a cap, or if anybody wants to give us a caption this cartoon in the chat. And remember, we're on Zoom. This is recorded. Be respectful of your colleagues and peers.
Yeah, so, and making sure I continue to narrate enough. As you can see, I'm going in and, you know, pretty much darkening where I've decided those original guidelines served us well. Probably not stylizing it as much as I could be based on this, but, you know, we've really simplified it from the photo. I think we've, you know, shown what's happening in its most distilled way. We're thinking of a good caption to add at the very end.
On this one, you're looking for just like a simple line form, right? Like that's really the look that this one's going for.
Yeah, and I am being more sketchy than I would need to be otherwise. I mentioned before that drawing on the tablet is not my first and foremost medium for drawing, but you know, I'm definitely getting used to it.
You're doing
especially
pretty
with
good.
this event.
Yeah, you're doing pretty good, I would say.
I do make more marks than I need to, and just to make sure that everything's really emphasized.
Got it.
You know, they average out the lines that I want. Okay, I'm looking at our source cartoon over here. I think I'm going to choose to make his boots a little chunkier than they actually appear in the photo, just in attempts to.
I almost want the food bag exaggerated too. Like, what kind of protein pellets is he giving them? I almost want it to be a boot, like he's taking the food out of a boot.
Make that happen right now. I'll get some laces coming off of there. We'll have some spilling out just so that we can, you know, see that it's full of something. I feel like when you're illustrating for the sake of, you know, showing someone who has not experienced what this moment is, you want to give them more information than it would actually be provided by looking at the scenario itself. So we'll give lots of clues and really emphasize this this exchange. Add the faintest hint of a setting, as this artist does. You get, you know, into the table.
I almost feel like this would be like a caption to the food, the chow, but because I was an army cook, I'm sensitive to that. So, but I feel like the you know, the Marine is giving the deer his chow. And that'll make him a strong Marine, but I don't know. We got to think of something funny.
Yeah. What's the? Let's see. That line doesn't quite serve us. Take it away. What was the slogan again?
Well, there was the Few the Proud, and then there's Once a Marine, Always a Marine. I was just in the Marine brand guidelines today looking something up, so I kind of have a bunch of them. We'll get you started on the next drawing, and I'll look them up and see what I can find.
Okay, well, for now, we'll add in thought bubble.
A bubble.
Here. And yes, anyone else who thinks of a catchy phrase to put in here will work.
Yeah.
But for now, I will put.
Maria had one out there. She said, "Oh dear, chow tonight was beastly."
I love it. Oh dear.
That's good. That's good.
Thank you. It's a dad joke. I thought maybe, maybe the young man didn't like the chow in the mess hall, so he was feeding it to the.
Yep. Oh dear.
I don't want
That's
to
perfect.
Marine cook. Never.
Well, the Army cooks, most people don't know, the Army cooks train with the Marine cooks. We actually, when we go to our job training, we actually all train together, but the Marines are already considered active duty, and the Army are still in training. So we still have to live in the barracks with drill sergeants, and the Marines get to do whatever they want, which includes taking home leftovers at the end of the day of whatever we cooked. And the Army has to throw all of theirs away because we're not allowed extra treats. So, and the Marines never let us forget that. They would walk out with like 4 or 5 pies, and they didn't eat them. They just took them because they could. So, yeah, Marine cooks, grr. All right, so the Few the Hungry, oh dear. I love it. I love it. Well done. We are at 7:22. And
All
then
right.
we'll give y'all some time later on if you want to show your drawings. We'll let you have an opportunity, but for the sake of time, we'll go ahead and let Hannah move on to the next round about a dog, because dogs are the most common of all military mascots. There are more than 30,000 dogs have served in roles including sentries, messengers, and scouts. Make notes in case you want to attend trivia night one day with the Wisconsin Veterans Museum.
All right. So we've got our next selection up here. And it's a little blurry, but because we are stylizing anyways, perhaps not seeing all the details will serve us. So yes, we've got a dog on this side. We've got today's weather on this side. We'll zoom in again and make some observations about this particular artist before we begin. As we can see, we've got, again, some nice graphite work. I really like this one, in part because, all the narrative comes from, what you can't see.
This was actually drawn by a prisoner of war.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, you really feel this one, even though all you can see of their expression is in, their posture and the situation. And yeah, we have some lovely shading, really nice tone work. And we get a little hint of how this artist would draw facial features. For the most part, we're going to have to extrapolate for this image, but we're definitely going to want to try to do some of that nice shading work. So go ahead and dive on in. And I think what I'm going to start with for this one is this thing that he is leaning on and the dog is perched upon, because that's sort of a good center mark, and is what both of them are being pulled towards in terms of their their position. So I'm gonna bump this back down so that I can do my really sketchy lines. I'm going to start plotting out the shapes. And in terms of fidelity to true proportions, you know, these boots are definitely chunky, but we get the sense that for the most part, you know, the figures as a whole aren't being exaggerated too much. So this works well for my style. And we won't have to change quite as much.
Yeah, this one, I just like the interaction and the way he's looking at the dog. So my favorite mascot story, most people know Civil War mascot Old Abe, which was the eagle that served with the 12th Wisconsin and then came on to be a very famous eagle. He lived in the state capitol. But out of the Civil War from Wisconsin infantry regiments, my favorite is Bruin the Bear. There was a young man and his father that signed up to be in the 12th Wisconsin, yeah. And I think it was the 12th. I'm going to get it wrong. Forgive me. And this young man had a bear as a pet, like a small black bear, and his name was Bruin. And he brought him to Camp Randall, and they allowed him to keep him, and they made him this little home out of a crate and set it all up. And the 12th Wisconsin was a marching brigade, so they marched everywhere from Wisconsin to Chicago to Missouri through Tennessee. But when they got to Tennessee, they were told that they were probably going to be making their way to New Mexico and the bear wouldn't be able to be brought with them. So they sold Bruin. And then after they sold Bruin, they found out they weren't in fact going down to New Mexico, and he got rid of the bear for no reason at all. And he was documented. John Gattis, one of the artists in our collection, actually in one of his paintings has the picture of Bruin, because Bruin used to stand in front and do tricks. And when they would march in parades through towns, Bruin would be out front and center getting the crowd excited for the troops as they were marching through. So Bruin the Bear is probably my favorite mascot out of all of them. And, you know, a little turn of luck, he might have become the 101st Airborne Patch and not Old Abe, but alas, he was sold. So.
Oh.
That was a great story, Yvette.
Thanks. I love Bruin the Bear.
All right, so we've got both of them mapped out pretty well here. And now it's going to be a matter of incorporating these design features. So I think I'm going to start with the outline and do the shading last. So we're going to come over here and bump this up a bit. And I'm going to quick zoom in. Look at this guy's face to see if we can
He's so miserable.
glean a couple features. Yeah.
that little O for a mouth is just like perfect.
Yeah.
He's just like, yeah, this stinks.
Yep. Yeah. Okay. So again, yeah, simple features. Fortunately, the expression on this fellow's face is quite a bit happier.
I think the dog should have the miserable face. The dog should have that like side mouth little hole, like, what's up with this guy?
Okay, all right. That's a good idea. Let's start there, shall we? Okay. Can't quite tell all of the more subtle details like which way its ears are bending.
I like with the hand what you did there by just putting like, what was it, 1, 2, 3, 4, 4 lines, all
Mhm.
pretty spaced apart, but then they change in like the pinky is just a little bit lower. But that was a really easy way to do the hands. And it gets that, it captured the curve. You weren't trying it too hard. It was just 5 lines and then a couple caps on each one.
Yeah. Coming up with shortcuts for hands is a worthwhile endeavor. If you can, you know, put in a bit of work and figure out how best to do it in your own particular style, it certainly saves you a lot of trouble on the road. Hands are one of those, you know, notorious things that artists can relate to and having trouble figuring out.
I think it's one of the most difficult things for people to master. I mean, I started really young because I knew that, so I always practiced hands, but it's what most people struggle with the most.
Oh, yes. Yeah, and there's only, you know, so many times you can choose scenes that conveniently, you know, have a hand out of frame or, you know, underneath something.
Right. There's a nice little blanket over the hand.
Yeah, exactly. All right. So I think we've given this dog some good side eye there.
You got a good, you captured him really well.
And I think we've got some foreshortening. I can't quite tell how it's sitting, but it kind of looks like it has its hind legs coming toward this. And
he's doing with what my dog we call supermodel pose.
Yeah.
Where he's sort of like doing this like posed photograph lounge where his leg just kind of dangles at one end.
Okay, that is what it was looking like to me. So yeah. Got that foreshortened lounge pose.
The tent can just go right over it.
Now we got to come in and, you know, get an expression of adoration here.
He's so proud of himself, this guy. Like, I got the dog to pose, everybody. Look.
From what we could see of the, you know, the cartoon version, it looked like noses were a little bit exaggerated. Even though
I would say, I think this is a World War I photo, Hannah. So like that hat would probably be like very indicative of World War I. So if you want to, I'm going to ask because I know that hat is so difficult to draw. So I'm going to request something impossible. But like the exaggeration of that hat really gives us the period of what we're looking at instead of looking kind of like a Van Gogh farmer.
Yeah. Right. Yes. Is it a?
I think that's a rope that goes around. Eric,
yeah.
I don't know if Eric's still.
Well, at this angle, it almost looks as though it's a square brim, but it's more a matter of it being pointed in the front and back.
Yeah, it's like I'm trying to think. We call it. It's a modified like Calvary type hat, but
okay.
I'm even requesting the impossible for me to answer the question, so maybe that one. So on the guide drawing on this one, you've got a lot of like angled lines. Were you gonna do that for your shading, or?
Yeah, I think.
Did that even come to play in your selection?
Well, yeah, I didn't have things match up quite as intuitively as, you know, last month's. I think last month's made a lot of sense for each pairing. And part of what I was going for this time was to, make it a bit more challenging by not having those actions be quite so obvious. So, we don't have rain. It doesn't look like a particularly, windy scene. So we can't really, illustrate wind or motion, but we do have some variance in tone. So we will come in and do some of that soft angled shading. And, won't necessarily have the same effect, but
I feel like in this one, if the guy under the tarp were a dog, this would be him.
yeah. So yeah, what the shading does for this is convey a lot of mood. So actually what we could do is to really make sure that this expression is emphasized, and this is the predominant sentiment and feeling in this drawing. What we can do, and I'll switch to my shading opacity, is we are going to give the dog a bit of a halo effect with that shading. What you'll see in plenty of cartoon work, and especially like anime and some of the really emotive styles, you'll get plenty of metaphor behind moods. So you'll get a stylized thunderstorm that happens behind a particular expression.
Got it.
Sunny day, so we're going for that effect here.
There's a storm cloud behind the dog.
Yeah. Giving a withering, stormy look to this poor.
I almost want like a cartoony halo over him because he feels like he's doing this great deed, but he's really, I don't know why I'm reading so into this drawing.
I love it and I'm going with it. So, or yes, instead of a traditional halo, maybe we'll give him some of these classic
oh yeah,
essentially exclamation points for a figure.
Like, look at me. And the dog is just like, oh man.
We'll add a bit more darkness to really drive the point home here.
Well, not to crack on the Army-Marine rivalry again, but Marines have a bulldog for their mascot, very traditional in the Marine Corps. And what's the dog's name? I know it, Chester. And I'm just thinking that maybe this is like an Army cook holding the Marine, like Chester. And I bet I got the name wrong. He's named after a Marine. And he's like, oh no, I'm active duty. You're still in training. Bring me a pie. I'm going to look it up because I can't say the wrong name for the Marine Corps bulldog. It is just blasphemy. So let me.
Well, in the meantime, we'll wrap this one up, and I am keeping an eye on the time. I think
you're at 7:40.
probably.
That was perfect timing. I was going to tell you at 7:40.
Yeah, I think we're ready to move on to the next
Chesty.
one.
Sorry, not Chester. Chesty. He's named after Chesty Puller.
Right. And next we have
Yuck.
the most stylized cartoon yet.
That's a
And a
Vlasic
snake.
cartoon. Yep. We have lots of Vlasic cartoons in our collection, a very famous World War II artist and draftsman.
Yeah, so we've been working our way up to these tremendously exaggerated proportions. Let's get a close look and see what we should be doing here. All right, so
Just so you guys know, Vlasic, the artist, was shaped very much like his drawing. So what we see as exaggeration is actually self-portraiture. So funny note.
Interesting.
It's
Wow.
true.
Goodness. Well, that is impressive then, because as we can see here, we want really exaggerated eyes, you know, high arching eyebrows. We want teeth with the lines in between. We want massive hands with, you know, the gestures exaggerated. We want big boots. We don't really want to bother with a lot of wrinkles in the uniform, which is kind of nice. Looks like we don't want to bother with too many buttons either. So this will involve mapping out a pretty exaggerated style from the start. And I might have to, you know, do a couple takes here. My inclination is to not do quite to this degree, but I'm excited. So here we go. And I am going to start with his head because this is where we get a sense of direction. Again, you know, working our way down if we run out of space. You know, this photo cropped his boots out anyways, although we can see over here how we're going to draw them anyways. I want to keep his head kind of small. And another thing we might go ahead and do with this is sort of a, what is it, a 3/4 kind of angle. He's mostly facing us, but we get, you know, this dynamic angle rather than, you know, straight on or a complete side to side. And when you're doing, you know, portraiture or, you know, more realistic style, this is a great angle because it, you know, really lets you explore the dimensionality more so than, you know, either head on or side to side. But, you know, this is pretty much head on with, you know, a somewhat angled head. So we're going to have to flatten this out a little bit. So, okay. So rather than having, you know, this far shoulder be behind his head, I think we're actually going to maybe let's see, and we want a nice long neck. Yeah, there are going to be a lot of extra lines in my drawing as I, you know, try to figure out how best to approach this on the go. So you'll get to see more of the trial and error process. So let's have this arm come out and be angled back. Get that exaggerated neckline. Want a pronounced Adam's apple. I'm not going to get it going the other way like it is there. Get a really angular shoulder and keep arm thickness, pretty uniform. We do get some wrinkles around the joints, so we'll make sure to add those in.
So at the end of the night, Hannah, I have some Vlasic pictures of him pulled up, so I'd be happy to share with you all.
Perfect.
So you can see he's just long and gangly. He's just, but he's, and my photo up on my image is him at a drafting table. So I believe I believe we have Vlasic's drafting table in our collection. I'll have to double check that, but yeah. So along with these drawings, we have that. That's got to be a python, right? Something.
Yeah, it is a big one.
Yeah.
And we're gonna take some liberties in it too, because you know, in a cartoon of this, we would definitely have, you know, the whole snake.
Mm-hmm.
I think it would, you know, I think we'd want to see some teeth.
Yeah.
It would probably be snarling at him or something. You know, just to really pump up the danger.
I don't know. It'd be fun to have that same sort of smirk as the soldier looking back at him. Or we had those other drawings from Vlasic, where they had two soldiers in there. Or he should have the snake should have a drill sergeant hat on him. Look at that face. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, here. Let's see how we.
Yeah. Yes. It's a little tiny one, a little tiny drill sergeant hat.
How's that?
The funny
and just like that, it's gone from being a literal snake to a strong metaphor. All right, so let's come back up here. And for those of you who didn't want to do hands, this one's perfect. We'll get some fingers up here. We'll make sure to, you know, have pronounced nails.
You do like the Vlasic style where it's like those like long, weird, curvy fingers with the circle on the end of them.
Oh, that's true. We should have them bending away. Yeah.
We'll
come back and fix that.
Yeah, he's got the weirdest hands. Okay. Not the man himself, the drawings.
Okay. So make sure that this posture is the same, but we're giving these
giant clown
really exaggerated features here. Come in and do these funky boots.
I think his boots should be made of snakeskin. I'm just kidding. If anybody loves snakes, I don't. I don't want to hurt anybody's feelings.
Okay, so last but not least, we are here for the hair and face. So we will give it a really stylized look. We'll come in when I do the final outlining.
Can you do those little three, like that 3 prongs of hair that he has sticking up like in the drawing?
I think we'll really try to emphasize those. We're gonna give him a bit more of an expression
Mm.
than he does in the photo. Let me get some gritted teeth there. Okay, and now let's go ahead and commit to some of these lines with increased opacity. So,
He's starting to look like that guy in Casablanca. Oh, what's his name? He's got the weird voice. Do you know which one I'm talking about? Have you seen Casablanca?
Peter Lorre.
Peter
What's his name?
Peter Lorre.
Peter Lorre. Don't you think he's looking like him a little bit?
Yeah.
little more, since a little muddled. Let's see, and okay, so those do stay white inside. Give him pronounced chin. Get that ear. Okay, so we won't. Come in with the two lines.
Yeah, you're right. His uniform has one button and then he's got like a chain, like pocket watch.
That
That's
is an interesting look.
I know, right?
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, that weird white gap in between the two black lines.
Yeah. Well, he's got shiny hair. We
Yeah, it's
gotta
the
know.
Superman hair.
Okay, and then we have this part that comes over here. Look at our original. Okay, yep. And then we'll, of course, add a few tufts back there. Okay. Now, back out. I can't tell how this uniform's fastened, but I think we'll go ahead and just one button it too.
I was gonna say that one does have buttons, so the one button would fit. And then this one has that Vietnam era short sleeve has these giant pockets, like chest pockets, at a weird angle.
Okay.
So like picture a V like going in your torso. That's how the pockets are angled.
So like this.
Yeah, it's like this weird, and like the flaps, I can't explain it. The flaps are the right size, but they always seem like they're gigantic.
Okay, so maybe we should have those
Yeah.
just blowing in the wind.
Yeah. And they've got that weird pocket on the side, on the bottom side too. And you're at 7:54, Hannah.
Okay, yeah, we're getting close. We're just not going to get to those last ones again, are we?
We're just gonna have to do a whole V-mail section. Maybe we'll just do a V-mail drink and draw, and we get you some templates.
Yeah.
We have a shorter crowd tonight. Is there anybody that wants to share their drawings? You are welcome to share a drawing or one or two. If not, don't worry, but don't be shy. Bueller. Nobody? Okay, well, I'm going to actually share my screen for a second.
All right.
And I am going to, let's see if you can see the Vlasic. So this is, can you see him? This is him standing. And then there's one of him dancing. So I'm going to try to show that one to you too. Can you guys see that one? I'm not sure what you can see on the screen. So he's dancing away. And see those exaggerated pockets? That's why I said his stuff was exaggerated, but some of it was just really, it was what it was. So Hannah, I want to thank you so much for joining us once more. I know you've been incredibly busy. And I want to thank all of you for joining us here at Drink and Draw tonight. I know we have a couple more minutes. Maria, please stay safe out there in California with the fires.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Yeah. I'll show something I did.
Okay, wait, let me spotlight your video. Hold on just a second. Okay. Let's see here.
I'm not quite done with them yet, but I don't care for snakes at all. So
no.
So I decided to do the little dog in the
cannon.
Yeah. I'm not quite done yet, but I'm working.
I love it.
Then,
That's excellent.
That's amazing. And you guys, oh, you did the little.
That's perfect.
He's a little more adoring of his friend.
Yeah. That's very cute.
Thank you so much.
It was fun. Thank you.
Yeah.
Anybody else want to share?
I was gonna say, anybody? You don't have to, but oh wait, Deborah, hang on just a second. I will spotlight you real quick. Look at that snake!
Oh, beautiful!
You got
nice.
So good. Oh my goodness! Wow.
You got the uniform. Thank you so much. That's amazing. And I was going to tell y'all, if you want to share your drawings with us with the museum, please feel free to send me an email. It's my first name, so you see my name. Hang on just a second. It's yvette.pino@dva.wisconsin.gov. So my name is on my window up here. So
I'll put it up on the chat, Yvette.
You rock. I forgot about chat. I was like, there's got to be some way we can write it. But you guys can feel free to send me your images. And if you don't mind, we can share them on our Instagram page and we'll give you credit for them. But I just love seeing all the drawings. When we do this in person, we actually save the drawings that people do on site if they don't take them with them, and they become part of our archive. So feel free to be a part of the museum's history. It's been a really fun night tonight. I hope you guys enjoyed Cartoons and Comedic Relief Part 2. This is the anniversary of 9/11. I didn't want to go, I do want to acknowledge that anniversary and remember, but I also wanted to give us a little comedic relief in these times that we're all experiencing right now. So Hannah, you're amazing. I love this. You guys should send us some more captions. I'm thinking, what do we, oh, we're doing the thanks. I was thinking that snakes taste like chicken, so another food reference. Yeah, stay safe.
May I just ask this since I'm a newbie, all the artwork that you shared, was that done by veterans also?
Correct. The drawing Hannah was referencing, and this was part 2 of the last one, so we talked a little bit more. Vlasic was an illustrator in World War II. We have his drawings in our collection, so the Wisconsin Veterans Museum collection. The one with the tent and the rain was done by a prisoner of war in World War II. We have a collection from many service members that served as guards or directors, probably not the right word, overseers of the prisoners of war camps. And so oftentimes they would receive the drawings from their their charges. So we have a lot of drawings in our collection from prisoners of war, believe it or not. Not only American service members that were prisoners of war, but prisoners that they were in charge of. And this collection, this particular collection, is quite stunning. There's a bunch of different illustrations and portraits of, and forgive me, I didn't reference my notes for this of the director of that prisoner of war camp, but the colored renderings and illustrations are beautiful.
And we can only see those if I have to come to Wisconsin to see those, right?
Well, no, you actually can send me an email, and I'd be happy to share either a Zoom meeting with you, or I can share some images virtually with you, and talk more about the collection.
They're lovely, and drawing has gotten me through the pandemic. Drawing and painting, just all artistic stuff, has gotten me through the pandemic and the fires and the everything crazy. So, yeah, I'll send you an email. Thank you. I love them.
Yeah, please do. I'm the art curator, so this is my passion. This is my first passion and priority, is researching the artwork by veterans and artwork done in military service. Drawing does get me through as well, so it's a wonderful outlet. But not only is it an outlet, but it is a prime documentation of our existence. As I say, for the veteran arts, it is the documentation of the passage of time. And you can see that in the mark making. Many times the marks that you see on the paper are literally tick marks of seconds going by, oftentimes on guard duty, or there's nothing else to do but sketch. So there is a value in these. Even the simplest line drawings narrate our existence and where we're at. So thank you for that. And I love to talk about this, as you can see. So please email me. I'm happy to share a Zoom meeting or even a phone conversation. And when you come to Wisconsin, you've got a place to visit. We can show you the originals. So
awesome. That is so cool. Yeah, I hope to get there someday if I ever travel again. Well, definitely travel by car. So one of these days.
Well, when I'm out there, I'll maybe I'll bring you some facsimiles.
Hey, Yvette, I think Deborah has a question as well.
Yeah, Deborah, go ahead.
Oh, no, sorry.
Okay.
I thought she was trying to ask a question. My fault.
So I think we've got my email. The history of ship cats. I will look that up. That sounds very interesting. Ava gave us that. See, Drashvinel's video on the history of ship cats. I am definitely going to be looking that up. So I guess I should put my face back on. Hannah, again, thank you very much. Eric, thank you.
Thanks, Hannah.
Thank you so much. It was great.
And I didn't introduce Molly Snow, our education personnel here, running the show behind the scenes. Hannah will be back. We haven't got our schedule down pat yet. Drink and Draw will be in October. It will either be myself or Hannah, depending on what our schedules allow. And then just so you guys know, there will be no Drink and Draw in November. No Drink and Draw in November because it falls on Veterans Day. So we're going to acknowledge and celebrate Veterans Day. And then we'll be back in December. So keep an eye on our website for Drink and Draw. And I'll toss it over to Eric for other museum programs coming up.
Thanks, Yvette, and thanks everybody for coming out tonight. We greatly appreciate it, and we hope you had a lot of fun, as much fun as Yvette and Hannah had. And as Yvette said, we do have a lot of other programs to offer as well. We have our trivia night coming up next Tuesday. We also have movie discussion nights. We have curator conversations, and also in just about a month, well, in a few more days, just about a month, from the 15th, October 15th, we are going to release our virtual cemetery tour. That is a tour that we give annually here in Madison. It's a week-long event. We get almost 3,000 people that come out every year. But this year, we cannot offer live in-person tours. So we're going to put it on a virtual platform. The whole team has been working crazy hard on trying to get this done. Yvette in particular is one of the producers, and she has been just editing film together and working on the tour like nobody's business. So look forward to that coming out on October 15th. That should be a great feather in our cap to get this done virtually this year, and we hope to be able to offer those in-person tours again next year. And before I just keep prattling on about all the events, you can find those on our website, whizvetsmuseum.com. And I hope everybody has a great evening and a wonderful weekend. Thanks again for turning out, and we hope to see you again in October.